Ever since I saw this fireplace mantle on Instagram, I wanted and had to have a stained mantle. So today I'm going to show you how to convert my painted mantle into a stained one so that you can do it at your house. The material I'm going to be using is called a wood veneer. So it's very, very thin and has an adhesive back that will stick to the straight boards that already make up my mantle. It's not going to work well on the curvier pieces, so I'm going to go ahead and take those off. But beyond that, there might be a few other pieces of trim that I take off, but I'm going to evaluate that as I go. Even though I'll be covering everything up eventually, I'm still carefully removing the trim pieces by scoring the caulk before prying them off. The plinth blocks at the bottom of the mantle legs I wasn't sure about, but I've decided I want to keep them. These plinth blocks are going to take some elbow grease, so I'm removing them to work on them outside. Scrape off any peeling paint or caulk so the surface is as smooth as possible. I'm not going to be able to cover this curved piece of trim with the wood veneer, and instead of just ripping it out and replacing it, I'm going to use a chemical paint stripper to strip the paint off, and then I'll be able to stain it the same time I stain the wood veneer. The stripper calls for a well-ventilated area, and since I can't move the fireplace, I'm opening the door for some fresh air. As is typical with a lot of my projects, they get out of hand really quickly. While I'm stripping the paint off of this, I thought, let me go ahead and strip the paint off the bricks too. If it doesn't work out, I can just paint them right back. The paint stripper works fast. If you're doing this for the first time, it's better to use a plastic putty knife so you don't gouge the wood. Reapply another coat of stripper if you have multiple layers of paint. So this is the wood veneer. It looks like wood and it has an adhesive backing, but it's super thin. So now all I have to do is measure each section of my fireplace mantle, and then I'll be able to cut it to size with a razor blade. That's right, all you need is a razor knife to cut this stuff. I ordered my veneer where I get all of my woodworking products and info at woodcraft.com. The veneer came in a roll but quickly flattened out. After marking the dimensions for the first piece, hold a straight edge like a level firmly while cutting against it to get a nice straight cut. To attach the veneer, remove the backing on one small section while you line up the veneer with one edge of your surface. Peel the rest of the backing off as you work your way down or across, just like applying a screen protector to your cell phone. Alright, now that I have all of the side pieces of veneer in place, I can measure for the front pieces. And the reason I'm doing that is even though the veneer is really thin, I want to be able to cover up the end grain so that from the front of the fireplace, it looks like one piece of wood. I love that there's no glue or clamping needed to hold it in place. Another great thing about this stuff, you can easily trim any excess after it's in place. Before I start staining, I tested out 3 different stain colors on scraps of veneer in kind of the hue that I was going for. Decided to go with this lighter one. That way, if I don't like it, I can always go darker, but you can't go lighter. Now for the easy part. I'm just rubbing the stain on with a clean cloth. To add some warmth and dimension, I picked up some moldings at the home center. Just a few quick cuts and the trim accents are ready to be installed. I'm using a quick drying glue to attach these pieces so I'll have fewer nail holes. The painter's tape will help hold it in place while it sets. Now that my stain has had time to dry, I'm going to give everything 2 coats of my water-based sealer so that it'll help it last for a really long time. I love water-based sealers like this one from Woodcraft because they dry fast and it's easy to clean up with soap and water. Don't forget to lightly sand between coats. It turned out just the way I've envisioned it for years and adds so much cozy to all the white in my living room. Check out my next video where I share how to update the lower half of my fireplace with just paint. Thanks for checking in. I've got so many projects to share with you, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss my next episode.